Hello everyone, my name is David. Today we are going to take a look at another real tale with you. In the world of crime, the worst thing that happens is the betrayal of relationships. There isn't a single relationship left that hasn't been tainted by someone's betrayal. People driven by their greed and anger don't even spare their relatives or family members, taking their lives without thinking about what will happen to their families afterward. They also don't consider how they are ruining their own lives. Today's story is similar, a murder and 3 relationships. These 3 relationships were very close, and how they lead to the crime and why it happened is something you will discover in this video. So, make sure to watch the video till the end and stay with us for all the details. The story is set in Agra. In Agra, there lived a boy named Sachin, and he worked in a bank. He was a very good boy. It had been 7 years since his marriage, and his life was going well. When he got married, he lived in his village. After marriage, his wife's name was Priyanka. After their marriage, Sachin, along with his parents and wife, started living in the village. However, Priyanka had no interest in living with her in-laws or staying in the village. She would constantly tell Sachin that they should move to a big city and live alone. She told Sachin that she didn't want to live with her in-laws, her sister-in-law, or brother-in-law. She wanted to live alone. And because of this, Sachin and Priyanka would have frequent arguments. After a fight, Priyanka would stop talking to Sachin, which would make him upset and, in turn, worry his family even more. Sachin's parents were very happy after his marriage, as their son had a wife now. To help improve their son's married life, they thought of buying a house in the city for Sachin and Priyanka. They believed that Priyanka would be happy with this arrangement, which would make Sachin happy and in turn bring them happiness too. Sachin got a job in Agra. His parents bought him a flat in a very nice area there. They got him a flat in Agra itself and told Sachin and Priyanka to live their lives happily without worrying about them. They assured them that they would manage on their own and that Sachin and Priyanka should focus on being happy and not fighting. However, Sachin was not happy with this arrangement. He didn't want to leave his parents alone and move elsewhere, but after his parents insisted repeatedly, he agreed, also considering Priyanka's happiness. So they both moved to Agra and started living there. Priyanka was also very happy in Agra because she wanted to stay there as her parental home was in Agra too. Priyanka's father also used to live in Agra. He was a lawyer and her brother also had a good job. Priyanka was very happy because she had moved close to her home. Whenever she felt like it, she would go to visit her father and brother. Now she no longer had to see her in-laws or take care of them. She could do whatever she wanted, go wherever she pleased, eat whatever she liked, and spend as much money as she wished. However, Sachin still missed his parents a lot. Although he was living separately with Priyanka, their life was going well, and they were happy because Priyanka was happy, which made Sachin happy too. But whenever any occasion or function took place, Sachin would always visit his home to meet his parents, as he wanted to fulfill his duty as a son. But Priyanka was still not happy. She had managed to separate Sachin from his parents and siblings, but Sachin's heart couldn't accept it. He would often visit his home, but whenever Sachin went, Priyanka would get very upset. She wondered why he kept going back to his home. Now that they lived in Agra and had job there, it didn't make sense to her for him to return to his village to visit his parents and siblings. She felt he should leave them alone and let them live their lives, just as they wanted to live theirs. But Sachin couldn't accept this. He would always go to meet his parents and siblings because, despite 7 years of marriage, how could he abandon the 25 to 30 years of relationships with them? He loved his siblings very much and had spent his entire childhood with them and his parents. He couldn't leave them behind. And whenever Sachin visited his village, Priyanka would quarrel with him a lot. She would complain about Sachin to her father and brother because they were highly respected in society as they were well-known lawyers. Due to this, they would come to the house and threaten Sachin, saying that he must keep their daughter happy and that if she ever faced any trouble, they wouldn't spare him. They would tell him what they could do to him, giving such threats. But now Priyanka had become too much. Whenever Priyanka and Sachin had a fight, sometimes she beat Sachin, and often she would call her brother and father. They would come to the house and even beat Sachin. But Sachin never said anything. He would silently endure everything and didn't even inform his family because he didn't want to see them troubled. On October 11th, 2023, Sachin's father called him because there was an auction happening at a petrol pump. His father filled out the application for the petrol pump in the name of his younger son. Sachin agreed, saying that he works in a bank and doesn't need it, while his younger brother was unemployed. Sachin thought that his brother could start a business and have some employment since the brothers were very close and always thought well of each other. However, Priyanka found out about this and started arguing with Sachin, asking why his father applied in his younger brother's name and not his. She believed that if Sachin got the petrol pump, they wouldn't lack anything. She asked him why he didn't assert his right to the petrol pump or ask his father to fill out the application in his name. Sachin explained to her that if the petrol pump is transferred to his brother's name, it would also provide employment, giving him a chance to run a good business. He would do well in the business, secure employment, and be able to marry into a good household. But if he remains unemployed, who would marry him? However, Priyanka insisted that she wanted the petrol pump in Sachin's name. Sachin responded that he wouldn't make such a request to his father, who had already applied for it in his brother's name, and it would remain that way. Hearing this, Priyanka got even angrier and informed her father and brother about everything. They came to their house and an argument ensued, which escalated. In the heat of the moment, Priyanka first assaulted Sachin and then her brother joined in, beating him severely. Her father also beat him to the point where Sachin was covered in blood and lost consciousness. Even after he passed out, they continued beating him, unaware that he wasn't just unconscious, but had died. They kept hitting him until they realized he was dead. Sachin died due to the beating, making it a case of murder. Another thing was that Sachin called his parents every day, and if he didn't, they would call him. So Priyanka called his family first and told them that his phone battery had died and he was tired because of work at the bank that day. His family believed her and thought he was indeed tired, so they didn't suspect anything and decided not to disturb him. And now Priyanka, her father, and her brother were very scared because a dead body was lying in front of them at home, a body that they had killed. They were now thinking about what to do with it so that they wouldn't get caught. Priyanka's father, being a lawyer, knew all the legal tricks, where they could escape and where they might get trapped. First, they checked around the building and the flat and found that there were a lot of cameras. If they took the body out from there, they would surely get captured on one of those cameras, no matter how careful they were, and they didn't want anyone to notice, so they decided to make a plan. That night, they stayed inside the house and cleaned up all the bloodstains, ensuring that the house looked spotless so that no one would suspect anything if they suddenly came to visit. The body was lying in a room, and the three of them sat outside. In the evening, they ate their dinner as usual and passed the night peacefully. By morning, they realized it was too late to move the body because it was already daylight. Priyanka's brother and father left the house, giving her clear instructions on what to do and what not to do. Two housemaids came to Priyanka and Sachin's house, one to cook and the other to clean. In the morning, the cleaning maid arrived first, and Priyanka told her to skip their room because Sachin was sleeping and didn't want to be disturbed, so she cleaned the rest of the house. After she left, the cook came and Priyanka instructed her to prepare the meal. The cook made all the food, but neither of them realized that there was a dead body lying in the house. Then Priyanka left her house and went to her neighbor's house, claiming that her phone was broken and nothing was visible on the screen, and she needed to call her father. The neighbor gave her their phone, and Priyanka called her father. Her father told her something, then her father called his relative, and he explained a few things. The relative then called Sachin's father and said that Sachin had fallen and died today. Sachin's family was completely devastated and couldn't believe that he was dead. The person who called said that he didn't even know if it was suicide or if he had really fallen and died, but they should come and see for themselves. Sachin's family quickly went to Sachin's house, and his body was still lying in the room. They saw that Sachin and Priyanka's relationship had been problematic, and they often fought. Sachin had been told multiple times how Priyanka and her family behaved. When they saw Sachin, his body had marks of injuries from his head to his feet. His family said that Sachin didn't commit suicide, nor did he fall to his death. They said someone killed him. They wanted to know who had killed him, stating that they couldn't accept it as a suicide or an accident. But Priyanka's father and her brother were also there. Priyanka and her father said that it was not the case. He had killed himself by falling and dying. However, we didn't know anything about this. But Sachin's father and Sachin's brother came and insisted that the police be called because they believed someone had killed their child. They started arguing a lot about it, and the noise from their argument began to spread around. Nearby residents called the police, and when they arrived, they saw Sachin and suspected something was wrong. They noted that the situation was serious. They sent Sachin for a post-mortem, and the report stated that Sachin did not commit suicide but was murdered. After the report came out, the police interrogated Priyanka, her father, and her brother. They did not provide any answers, so the police became suspicious and took Priyanka, her father, and her brother to the police station and put them in jail. When asked at the police station, they wasn't speaking there either, but after repeated questioning and pressing, they revealed the whole truth to the police. Priyanka said that she felt very bad that Sachin's father had transferred a petrol pump to his brother's name. She wanted the petrol pump to be in Sachin's name so that their life would be better. But when she told Sachin about this, Sachin argued a lot with her, and she also had a big fight with Sachin. Then she called her father and brother, and the argument escalated to the point where they got so angry that they started beating Sachin. They didn't know whether he had lost consciousness or had died. They kept beating him until he was dead. For a petrol pump, a woman killed her own husband and involved her father and brother, who were highly respected. The woman was completely unafraid of being caught by the police. She showed no sorrow over her husband's death and was living normally, without any sign of grief about his demise. Priyanka had already ruined her own home, but her father, her brother, never once thought that their actions were also ruining their daughter's home. They destroyed her entire life by killing her husband, all because of their greed for a few millions. They demolished someone's home, took away someone's son, and snatched someone's brother. So, this was today's story. Thank you for joining us on this journey today. We hope you enjoyed the content and found it valuable.